If you want an example of how out of touch the governing elites are with the average man in the street, look no further than the haughty argument for one of the supposed benefits of driving an EV. Well, you can charge at home, can't you? Well, actually no, not everyone can charge at home. A significant proportion of most countries' populations live in apartment blocks, with underground car parks if they're lucky, or inner city terrace houses with no off-street parking at all. In countries like Singapore and South Korea, the proportions are huge. Singapore, for example, has just 5% of all residents not living in apartments or other high-rise accommodation. And we all know what can happen with EVs parking in underground parking lots. Just ask those poor people in Seoul who were evicted by a Mercedes EQE going up in smoke. But without home charging, you're subject to the nightmare of public charging. So in Australia, as we'll see in this video, wealthy Tesla owners who think that they can do what the hell they like are resorting to ever more ludicrous methods to charge their golf carts on the street, with hilarious results. Welcome back to MGUY, British engineer and lawyer, now Sydney-based YouTuber. Be sure to follow me on the usual socials for more content, links in the description, and please make sure you're subscribed and have enabled all notifications so you don't miss out on any future videos. Public charging is either slow or expensive, or both. If you want to wait 6 hours to charge your EV at a public charger, maybe you'll save some money. If you want to do it in 40 minutes at a fast DC charger, you'll be paying well above home electricity costs. And now you've wasted all your money on an EV, you need to get those electricity savings going, so you'll have to improvise. We've all seen the photos of cables draped across pavements from household electrical sockets to the owner's electric cars, like these on screen. None of them seem to have any clue about the safety issues of this kind of practice, let alone the obstruction to the footpath and trip hazards. But one Tesla owner living in a wealthy suburb of Melbourne decided to go one step further, as Drive reports. Melbourne Council calls Tesla drivers' clever street charging setup a hazard. This creative resident used a fishing rod to create their own on-street EV charger, but their council says it's a violation of local laws. Just FYI, it's not clever, it's bloody stupid. A Tesla Model Y owner in Melbourne's inner east who devised their own clever on-street charging solution using a fishing rod has been urged by their local council to use approved public charging stations instead. The innovative setup spotted by Drive on a suburban side street uses a fence-mounted fishing rod to feed an electric car charging cable up and over a footpath, providing plenty of clearance for pedestrians to pass beneath. Oh well, that's all right then, move along, nothing to see here. Well, maybe not. However, when approached by Drive to ascertain whether the setup was approved, a City of Boroondara council spokesperson said the curbside charger was a safety hazard. There are currently no approved overhead or across-curb solutions to provide electric vehicle EV charging from residential properties to vehicles parked on the public streets in Boroondara. Daniel Freer, Director of Places and Spaces at the City of Boroondara, said. This configuration is a safety hazard for pedestrians and breaches council's amenity local law. Residents who do not have off-street parking should use any of the expanding number of publicly accessible charging stations located across Boroondara. And there's the rub. No more home charging for you. Off to queue with the unwashed masses at the public charging station. Hang on, this isn't what I was told about EV ownership. But not to worry, Boroondara Council is on the case because, rather than spending ratepayers' money on, fixing potholes and collecting rubbish, they are wasting it on, wait for it, yes, a climate action plan, because of course they are. Which is about as ludicrous as Sydney's Inner West Council declaring itself, in all seriousness, to be a nuclear-free zone. We are proud to be supporting our community's transition to EVs by installing fast charging stations in Boroondara, with additional locations to be announced in the near future, Mr. Freer said. Boroondara's Climate Action Plan commits us to making charging stations available within a 2-kilometre radius of major shopping centres by 2030. Mr. Freer said the council had been closely monitoring the rollout of private curbside electric car chargers in the nearby City of Port Phillip council area to determine if it will be a viable solution for Boroondara residents. And this just highlights the nonsensical idea of EVs being a one-size-fits-all solution. The whole idea of curbside charging is fraught with difficulty, not just the complexity of installation, operation and maintenance of the infrastructure, but all the safety considerations that go with it. A can of petrol is pretty benign by comparison until ignited, which is in stark contrast to a permanent electricity supply which, for a single street, would add up to megawatts of power. But as with all of these initiatives, it's driven, as always, by ideology, not practicality. So until the mad push for EVs at all costs is either scaled back or abandoned, I can guarantee we're going to see more and more of these ludicrous street charging hacks pop up all over the place.